Hi, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today. Let's see, it froze up. Let's see if it gets fixed or not. Unfortunately, YouTube isn't doing the best. There we go. Let's see how good or bad it freezes up. But I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today. We're doing our regular session where we talk about U.S. immigration law, taking your questions live. And let me get that mic a little closer so it got a little louder for you all of a sudden. Doing stuff in a little bit of a rush today. Got different softwares and computers working out. And so, as you can imagine, that always creates different headaches. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. No Facebook, no Twitter X. They have all their own issues. But we got the main ones where most of the questions come from. If you ask questions about timelines, we don't have answers. So unfortunately, this isn't the show for you. But if you're asking more pointed questions, you can try to generally describe for educational purposes about U.S. immigration law. Again, we're live on YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn and TikTok. And the best chance of getting questions and answers, if you go on YouTube, U.S. Immigration Talk or JQK Law, find us and ask questions there. Because in a place like TikTok, we get inundated with questions where it gets hard when people repeat their questions, which unfortunately we're supposed to mute them when they do that. So to get into that, get better questions, get your question out there is the best way to do it. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. As I said, if you want to contact us directly, schedule a consultation, please go to jqklaw.com/contact. And if you're interested in a marriage green card case, a fiance visa, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Go to go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And you can download a free 40-plus page guide that we have where we go into the immigration process for marriage cases. Helps out a lot of people, and hopefully it'll help you out. So let's go to a quick question contest. Someone crossed the bar. The guy changed the immigration status to marriage. Okay, it's not a real question. So, okay. Indy says, hello, sir. What comes after RFE response received for adjustment of status? You either get denied an interview or an approval. Okay, it says, if someone crossed the border illegally, can the guy change their status through marriage? It's going to have problems because they need to have lawful entry to be able to adjust status. But it depends on when they entered. For example, the Biden administration has a new program coming out August 19th, where if someone entered the U.S. without permission, like this scenario, but they did so more than 10 years ago, then they can fix it. So it may be possible, may not. They may fall into some other exceptions we don't know about. We really got to schedule a private consultation to go over what's going on with your case, Colin. But thank you for asking the question. Anna asks, I submitted the I-130, my Canadian spouse, I'm a green card holder, also Canadian. While the form is processing, can you apply for a TN visa? Also, can you still visit and remain for 6 months in the U.S.? Both options are possible. The fear you're having is about immigrant intent, that he's going to try to, that the government, the U.S. government, especially at the border, are going to think that your husband's trying to enter the United States with the intent to stay here and not go back home, especially with the visa bulletin moving up. Potentially, he could do that once he comes in, if your case is current, to file adjustment of status, get a work permit, just hang out here. So they may deny your TN. They may deny entry for 6 months because they'll think he's coming to stay. It's going to be up to the discretion of the officer at the border or at the airport that's letting you in, whether to allow you to do that. I don't have a consistent answer because it's not up to me. It's up to discretion. I've seen it happen both ways. Except for anyone, regulars ask, so if USCIS asks for the I-693 RFE, the medical, does that mean my interview might get waived? It might. I can't guarantee it, probably, but maybe. If possible, maybe you know a time frame when some, there's no time frames. No time frames. You've been watching the show long enough, except for you know better to ask about time frames. How's the asylum process work? We file for asylum, then you have an interview, and that's it. We don't do asylum, so I'll leave it at that. Mikkel Morgan or something, Mikkel Marketing. How long is the Texas Service Center a spouse petition I submitted? Petition last time has a year more or less. We don't go into timelines. No problem, except Fernie. Good try though. But yeah, it's the thing is when you respond to an RFE, there's just no timelines. It's like we have cases where you respond to an RFE and the next day we get approved. And then I've had it where 9 months, 10 months go by to get approved. So it's really inconsistent. That's why there's no real answer because it's just super inconsistent. Kelly says Cleaver, I think. Does the work authorization get approved before the green card itself? It can. Usually it does. Indy, you're welcome. Jew says, can a civil judgment disqualify you from U.S. citizenship? Well, it depends on what the civil judgment is. We got to read the judgment. Nachi says, I'm a U.S. citizen. I filed the I-129F. That's a fiance visa. That's the case. How long does it take? Any tips? Do the case right. How long does it take? Probably a year and a half to get the petition approved. And then it depends on the embassy you're dealing with. That's going to go all over the place. Hi, Faison. IDK says, are Indian green card holders getting citizenship? Yeah, well, yeah. Kami says, how long does it take for M400 to complete? 3 months, 2 years. Zara, I'm married to U.S. citizen. I've been married for 2 years. Can I apply for citizenship now? No, you have to wait at least 3 years if you've been married and living with your spouse as a green card holder. You might be mistaking the word citizenship with green card. I don't know. And also maybe an I-75 removal condition situation you might have to deal with. So those are some things to think about. Usually we got a gazillion questions on TikTok. It's slowly ramping up. Faison says, Campbell or Trump? Neither. Don't bother wasting your time on any of this stuff. This politics, and I studied politics many years, and this morning I was thinking, I wasted many years of my life thinking about politics. Worry about your family. At most, go to your neighbor. Don't think any farther than that. Paulie says, I got my work authorization months ago. Now I got my child parole. Good. But online, I still said the I-130 is 20 months away. Timelines online don't mean anything. You just have to wait for your case to go through. What are your thoughts on the 212 waiver visa? No thoughts. I mean, if you need it, you need it. You apply, and that's that. I should put the camera down because the YouTube video is going to keep capturing me looking down. But okay. Okay, Campbell or Trump, pick one, please. Neither, man. I don't believe in politics, so I don't. It's just like I'm not going to answer dumb questions. Sorry, I don't mean you're dumb, but it's dumb. I know 100, 200 million people thinks it's so I'm one out of one person. There's 200 million people who think Trump or Campbell. It doesn't make sense, but I'll stick with it. I don't mind being the odd man out. None of that stuff matters. Separ, that's a good question. Chances on a second round of H1B? Good chances. Just announce it today. So if you filed for H1B lottery and didn't get chosen in the last round, they're saying a second round is being done now. We'll get some news on it and this week or so. It's very interesting. Some people have a second try at getting it. So that's a good, I'm glad you brought that up. That's going to be an interesting thing that's popping up. Nachi says, what's the rough estimate on 2 hour timeline? I already said, online says 3 to 6 months. No, I already said it's going to take year and a half. Chris said, it might be faster. I might be wrong. I just want to answer timelines. Will fiance visa have an issue if a birth certificate is Christopher and everything else like license plate says Chris? Probably not, but it's not up to me. Why is your document so off? I know it's a shortened version, but you got to be consistent with this stuff. It could be problematic, but you must list it as other names used. I'm surprised they issued like licenses and passports in the wrong name. That part doesn't make sense. I'd want you to go and fix it, but fixing a passport is a big hassle. Yeah, that's not up to me. It's up to them if they want how strict they want to be. Usually they're not strict, but I can't guarantee it. And it says, since I'm a green card holder and I have a child outside the U.S., does that mean I have to file Form I-130 again? Is it faster for child process? No. If you file for your spouse as a green card holder, your child will be within the application, and they both have the same time. Now, if you have a child outside the U.S., if they're born after you're a green card holder and you enter the United States, the first time you entered, you would have got a green card with them. It's kind of, I guess, see what's going on. How did you get a green card? Your child didn't get a green card with you. So all that gets kind of confusing, and it's best to schedule a private consultation. Okay. Tia says, my sister filed for her case with Care Immigration Inc., but they are not helping with moving the case. I don't know who these people are, and maybe your case just needs to depend more. I don't really know. So she could schedule a private consultation. We can review it. Can I do adjustment of status? I have multiple entries. Do you mean multiple unlawful entries? If you're subject to the permanent bar, no. But we need exact information. The case is stuck, not helping out. Yeah, maybe most cases are stuck. So I'm not sure if it's like something they actually could do anything about, or if it's like something they can. Probably they can't. As you see with the timelines people are always talking about on this show, these cases just get stuck. But it depends, and we got to see where it is, what it's stuck on. How do you expedite a 212 visa? That's not really going to happen. Rachel, does the refusal online for K1 mean it's officially refused, or can I mean more admin info? Refusal means administrative processing, which could be fixed. A denial is denied. But if there's a refusal, you got to see what it is. Lauren asked, what is administrative processing exactly? Well, we don't know what it is exactly, but it's the government's way of saying we're thinking about it, essentially. Or it could be they need some documents. It could be they're doing background checks. It could be God knows what, really. So it's really a catch-all kind of term that just says, taking our time and just relax because we're nothing to do about it. Maybe you could sue after a lot of months, but or a year. Paulie says, my I-130, I-485, different processing times. Don't look at processing times. They don't mean anything. They're worthless, completely worthless. If you look at USCIS.gov for processing times, they mean nothing. Baby says, what about you file before that? What about you file before what? Gita says, what is the first step to apply for a visa in U.S.? Well, you don't apply for a visa inside the United States. A visa is to be able to get in the United States. And it depends on what kind of visa category you're looking for. Baby mama says like last year. I'm not sure, baby mama, what's going on. Yeah, I'll ask your full question in one sentence so I can catch what's going on. Khalif says, can your travel document be approved before your green card or not? Yeah, that happens. Nowadays, not really, but it happens. 007, is there a time limit for DOS to provide a FOIA info? No time limits. You can sue them, and they're technically are time limits, but they don't care, so they do whatever they want. Timelines for I-130 marriage, 3 months, 2 years. No timeline questions, please. Daniel says timeline. Okay, another timeline question. I don't have time. What protections do Ukrainians have in the USA? What do you mean protections? You have like, the basic protections every American has, I guess. I don't know what that means. Gurmina, interview date was provided to you by the NBC means my I-129F. So the I-129F, the fiance visa, is processed differently at every embassy. So how they handle it is going to be different depending on the embassy you're dealing with. But normally the embassy or the National Visa Center, usually the embassy, but National Visa Center may contact you to schedule a time, or you may have to register a case and go to the online portal system for that website to schedule your appointment. It's different for a fiance visa. It's one of the annoying things, one of the many annoying things about the fiance visa. And that's why 99% of the times we do not accept fiance visas. We tell people to get married. On very rare circumstances, they exist for marriage, for a fiance visa. But not only does it take longer to get a green card, not only does it increase the cost by 30, 40%, but then you have to deal with the fact that every embassy does a fiance visa differently. And I could deal with the same embassy for years, and they'll keep changing up their way they do it every time. And also, if they just don't want to accept the case, they can just wait it out, and the I-129F approval can end. So it's just a mess. It's just a complete mess. Can I file for a green card myself without a lawyer? Or is it better with a lawyer? Can you cut your hair yourself? I'm sure you can. Is it going to look nice? It might look pretty ugly. That could happen. Or maybe do a good job. I don't know. So it's that kind of answers your question in a real way. All right. So please don't ask about timelines. I'm going to mute you, especially Amada about I-130. I told you the answer to that, but I can't keep going to timeline questions. They don't mean anything. Whatever I say is going to be wrong. So I don't want to say much wrong stuff on video. JNL says, is there a statute of limitations to enter U.S. if your I-130 was revoked and you left the U.S.? I don't know. I-130, that doesn't make much sense. If your I-130 was revoked and you left, you got nothing. So I'm not sure what statute of limitation would apply for. So Ahmad, if I see your name one more time, I'm going to have to mute you, unfortunately. Podgy says, do you send the I-130 and all evidence with the binder folder or what? You just print out the paper, put it on top of each other, and send it just like that. No attachments, no extra. Ash says, FCB, I-485, I-130 transfer to non-local office. Does that mean no interview? Is it good? Probably no interview, but, can't guarantee anything. Could be good. In case it's moving forward, so that's good. Hi, Nerida. Had you too. Overall progress there. How long does it take when the affidavits are in to hear from immigration? There's no fixed times. How can we get stamping for H-1B? You get a visa appointment, you do it, unless you're one of the small exception for the pilot program, do it in the United States. Tarek, do you have to wait 90 days to change status from B2 to F1? It's probably better that you do, and it's probably better you don't even talk to a school within the first 90 days of entering the United States on a B2, because they could say that was some fraud too, that you started talking to school before in the 90 days. So a lot of people don't know that, and they mess themselves up, and that's where having a lawyer comes in handy, because we know these things. We see it. But it is what it is. Tina says, what if the COVID vaccine is needed for medical exam, but it's currently unavailable in your country? Then they'll waive it for that those kind of situations. Excellent says, my son is 16. I have a green card, and his stepmom has U.S. citizenship. Who should apply for a son for faster green card inside the United States? If you married the stepmom before the child was 16, or is it 18? I think it's 18. Then the U.S. citizen parent should. That's going to be a faster case. That's an immediate relative case. It's like 4 times as faster than, let's say it could be done in a year or even less if for adjustment of status, if your son is maintained status, as opposed to the green card's child case, it's going to take 4 or 5 years right now. Schedule a consultation. That's a good one to consult with the attorney on. B, how long does it take? How long is my citizenship to update? I don't know. Project says, what determines the validity period of a green card? 2 years, 3 years, 10 years? Well, typically green cards are for 10 years. But if you obtained your green card based on an EB-5 investment or marriage to a marriage, and your marriage was less than 2 years old before the second anniversary of your marriage, when the green card is issued, it'll be a 2-year green card. So it's either 2-year, 10-year. 2 years, only small exceptions. Like it's mostly 10-year. Savannah says, I've been married to a spouse 8 years with children under 8. Can't prove here 10 years though, but I've I don't see the rest of it, but yeah, if you can't prove the 10 years, then you can't take advantage of the Biden thing. You may be able to use a 601A waiver, though. That's something to look into. It might have some other exceptions. Schedule a consult, we go into it. Excellent. We answer that question. Excellent. 27. You keep asking the same question over again. Baloch says, I'm waiting for IR1 Islam embassy. I'm going to have to wait for a while. Unfortunately, Pakistan is super backed up for years now, and they take forever. Narita, my friend was deported 2010, returned to USA 2012 before 10 years. Bar, she married a USA. Can she do PIP? Your friend is probably subject to what's called the permanent bar. I would need to talk with them to see what's going on. But that's going to suck if they're subject to permanent bar. Okay, Khan says, what about someone who crossed the border illegally, got paroled for 2 months, then applied for asylum pending? Then apply for asylum. I don't know what exactly is going on. What do you mean apply for asylum? If they file for asylum, they file for asylum. Parole doesn't make a difference. If they parole and they're trying to get some marriage case, it may be possible. We got to see what kind of parole it was. It could be iffy on that. You're welcome, Prodigy. Baluch says, I'm waiting for my wife's interview is on board. 1 year, 6 months. How long does it take? Probably not going to take much longer, but it's this inconsistent. Khan and so I can't advise on that people who have asylum pending. I have to see what's going on in that case with the parole, how kind of parole was. So Khan, I need to schedule a consult with that person to be able to answer that question in more detail. So because the thing is, if you're applying for a green card in the United States based on marriage to U.S. citizen, you're welcome, Rita. You have to have an admitted or paroled into the United States. Admitted is typically when you have a visa or something. Paroled is a special permission to come in and for a certain thing. A lot of these people are coming at the border and file for asylum. They give them parole to come in, but there's two different kinds of parole that are issued. There's like this asylum-specific parole, and there's like limitations on what you could do on that one. Frankly, I don't typically handle these cases, so it's not like fresh on my mind. But there's like a parole that may not be considered the full kind of parole for what's called INA 245 purposes. But again, I don't have expertise on asylum cases because I don't do asylum. So it's not something that pops up in my window too often. AI says, is there a delay on the process for adjustment of status? I-130 been waiting since November visa. Yeah, I mean, just the government has delays. It just exists. Marvin, if I get shots for a green card here in the U.S., will U.S. Embassy in Honduras, will they take him? So if you get vaccines, if you have records, it depends on the doctor in Honduras whether they'll accept those vaccine records. Typically, if it's the U.S. vaccines and you have good documentation, they will. But it's all up to the doctor that handles your case or the panel physician at the embassy that's going to do it. Don't bother getting here. Just go to the embassy and get it done with the panel physician. Marvin, I answered that question. So yeah, it's like if you don't want to get shots again, probably do that. But usually they accept it. That's not the worst. Tarek says, if I submit change of status from B1 to F1, premium processing. And I think because when I use Google Chrome, which I'm using for the YouTube recording software right now, it just keeps freezing. Does anyone know if Mac Mini does kind of stuff? It makes my computer freeze constantly. How long has it been frozen? I hope you guys can hear me. It's so annoying. Geez, okay. Yeah, so if you look up the form, it says what the processing times are, but it could really take 15 days, take 2 days even. So it depends on how fast they want to be. Kenny says, I'm lawfully employed. Can I combine my income, my spouse, and a sponsor of the affiliate support? If you have like work authorization and your continuous income, you could use that. Yeah. Shabby says, I've been waiting for my EAD approval, category C9 for 9 months. Well, that sucks. That's not typical anymore. We usually get these work permits much faster. Contact USCIS, see if they can get it faster. Mecca says, how long does it take you to receipt number and work permit for adjustment of status? Receipt number should take a week. Work permit, this person just said they waited 9 months. I don't have any cases taking that long anymore, at least last last year or so, but that's the government. Hello, IFRH, how long? I don't know. We got a lot of timeline questions. My least favorite questions coming in. If y'all want to learn about a marriage green card case, download our guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com, the ultimate marriage green card guide, 40 plus pages for free. If you want to schedule a private consultation, message us at jqqlaw.com/contact and fill out a little bit about your case so we know what's going on and we'll give you a response. Ariane says, as a green card holder on a reentry permit, can I stay out for the whole time permit is valid, or is it better to visit the U.S. and maintain some presence? Are further permits okay? It's better to always come to the United States, but if you can't, you can't. The point of the range permit is at least the first time, say you're out for 2 years. The longer you could get new permits after that, the longer you're out, the lower the time frame they're going to give you the permits. Eventually, they only give it for 1 year, which becomes kind of useless. But something to do. That's something to do. All right. Sorry, there's a lot of colds going around. I think I just had a cold last couple of days, and this energy level is all over the place. Kara says, "What should I say to U.S. status if I contact them about my I-485 filed since July 2023? Nothing. You shouldn't contact them for a year. Waiting is normal for adjustment of status. I know clients get really annoyed. I get clients who just like, hey, contact them. It's like that's just normal timelines for I-485. But contact them. They're gonna say wait. They're gonna say the same thing I'm saying. So that's that. I know you guys get frustrated about these timelines, but that's just the nature of the system. Rex says our petition authorities improved last October. How many months will we wait? I don't know. Sabby said contact them. They said due to overload factors not related to my case. Yeah, exactly. Just going to say wait. So that's why people ask timelines. They're just going to tell you to wait. Agu says I have my I-10 and license in another state while I'm with my spouse in another state. Will that affect me? Well, the I-10 is not stuck to a state. That just depends on, that's just a tax thing. And your license, I mean, you could have a license in another state, drive in another state. I'm not sure how that would affect you. I don't know your case details. So that's scheduled consultation so we can see what specific is going there, but I don't see how that's relevant per se, but I don't know your whole case. Aki says, my adjustment of status application is delivered on the 8th of this month. And up to now, I've not heard anything from USCIS. Please, what can I do? Did you give a credit card or a check? See if those have been cashed or checked. Did you send it with postal verification that it was delivered so you know it was delivered? If it's so you got to look at different things and see what's going on. Kara says yes, that they all say hope it's approved by March 2025. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Our doctor says spouse of U.S. citizen from I-7 filed pending since January 2022. Filed N400. How long is it going to take? I don't know. 3, 6 months, 9 months to get a citizenship interview, and that'll probably fast forward the I-751. Purheed, how long does extreme hardship take to get approved? 4 or 5 years right now. It might be faster, but easily 4 or 5 years. Does answering yes to I-485 questions saying if I ever worked unauthorized in the U.S. affect my case? It can. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, then no. And if you're getting employment based, if you work for a certain amount of time, yes, but it'll be fine, but up to 180 days. However, there's other issues. If you worked and if to get the job you claim to be a U.S. citizen, that is false claim to citizenship. That's a problem. Some offices, if you made up an ID or social security number, will ding you on that, and that's problematic. Moreover, let's say you work for a week and you stop working and you previously did extension of your tourist visa and didn't list that you worked in that application, but now you're saying you worked, they'll go back and say you did fraud there, even though on itself an adjustment of status based on marriage to U.S. citizens is okay. They can get you for the fraud. So all these things you guys say, I need different layers of review and into your case, your background to be able to give you an answer, and that's that. Obviously, send a money order. You don't send your cases with money orders. You send it with a check, a personal check, so that we can track it. I'm guessing you can track money orders. I don't know. We never send it. Use credit card or send a check. I know people think money orders are more official and stuff like that, so they send that. No, never send the government money with money orders. You don't know when it's going to get cashed or what's going on. Tariq says, when applying for adjustment of status or parent of a U.S. citizen, all the forms in the same time. Where is the processing time currently? If I add I-601 for vaccination, would that add more time to the case? I don't know. It would add more time potentially, but it just depends on how long the government wants to take. Probably going to add more time. Marvin says, I started my process when my wife had a green card. She's a U.S. citizen. My visa got her changed. Yeah, you changed to a spouse of U.S. citizen case. Shady says, my asylum was granted. The immigration court, I still haven't received documents. What do I do? You probably have a lawyer. Go and ask them, but you have to go and request the green card and stuff like that to pay for it, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a green card, but the asylum grants would have given you some sort of I-94 or paper. We don't do asylum, so I don't really want to answer that question, but they're supposed to give you the stuff, but ask the lawyer that's used. Real Brad Bernstein, please, my girlfriend, and I want to file for K-1 visa. Download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and then schedule a consultation after that. Read the guide. You'll learn more about the process, and then you'll know what questions or issues you may have, and then we'll have a full consultation. That isn't just me generically talk about stuff. It's more case-specific. marriageimmigrationlaw.com, www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Master Oregon says, I'm a citizen. Can I adopt or petition my 16-year-old boy nephew? We don't handle adoption cases. Probably not going to happen, frankly, but we don't handle adoption. Ipa says, can I use my husband's last name? I overstayed and only proof of marriage cert. All is a maiden name. It depends on the state that you're in, but typically you could use your husband's address. It's pretty typical. A lot of states, they allow it. But I'm not a specialist on name changes. We do immigration. I'm on OPT. Parents are green card holders. Sisters are citizens. Couldn't file for me because I was on, and then it cuts out. I was on F1. Yeah, your parents could have filed for you as a green card holder. Potentially, I can know your case, but your parents probably should have once you came on the F1 and then waited here. But I need to know more about your case. So schedule a consultation session, just this period, so we get into your case. Then he says, "Can I do adjustment of status on medical visits?" It depends on what the basis for adjustment of status is and what the intent was when you first arrived. So we got to talk in private about your case. How long does it take if your dad is filing for you and you're over 21? If you're unmarried, probably like 10 years or something like that. Captive says, I applied for my spouse I-130. I'm a U.S. citizen. Did not get approval yet. 13 months on. Yeah, that's about right. Novelist says, if an immigration officer writes in your passport, no EOS, no COS, no AOS, can my husband apply for green card? Yes, those things that the CP officer writes in the passport don't mean anything. But you got to make sure other stuff's correct. So schedule a consultation. Download our guide first, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. The schedule product consultation of Let Manderson. Sorry, said your full name, but anyways, listed there. But we do those cases all the time. But I got to make sure the rest of your case is okay. So schedule a consultation. Evan says, how long after you get your I-765, your marriage green card case get a decision? There's no connection with the EAD, work permit approval, and the decision on the green card case. Samantha, what happens after you do your interview and it wasn't approved on the spot? You wait for a decision. How can I stay after OPT is done? You got to find some different way to do it without moving back. I don't know. We got to see. The E2 applies to you, U visa, NIW for you. You re-enroll for some more school, higher degree. All this stuff's possible. Only answer, is there anything good for reform for DACA? Not that we know of. Lapis, can I use the same SSN if I was on a J1 if I got married recently? Yeah, your social security number stays the same. Just be mindful if you're on a J1 that you did not have a 2-year home residency requirement that would prevent you from getting a green card without applying for a waiver. Should we get married on ESTA or wait for 90 days and stay illegally? And then, I can't advise per se directly on this, but generally people get married on ESTA all the time, and we file marriage green card cases within 90 days all the time. But I can't advise you individually. Schedule a private consultation, jqqlaw.com/contact, jqqlaw.com/contact, KAG or CAG. We talk about it. We do these cases all the time, but it's a little bit nuanced and private, so it's better talking private about it. How is James Boss? I don't know. I don't know what judge in New York if it's good or bad. Captive Hertz asks when I will get the approval letter. I want 13 months now. I don't know, probably this month, maybe never. I don't know when you'll get this stuff. Samantha says they say I don't have any outstanding docs. If they need anything, they'll let me know. Let me just wait for that. Am says I don't know about this judge in New York. I don't handle court cases. There's a gazillion. There's not a gazillion. There's like a couple hundred judges. I don't know, but I don't handle court cases, so I don't keep track of that. All right, we're getting close to the end of the show. Nice flow, good questions. If you got a green card marriage case, I'm a marriage immigration lawyer primarily. So if you're interested in that, I'm the person to schedule contact with. Be really good at advising you. Download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, but schedule a consult after that, jqqlaw.com/contact. Captain first says you do not answer. I answer everything. And if you don't like the answer, that's not my problem. It's just the answer that I have. Unknown says, my mom's a citizen filing for her sister and her kids in 2013. How long do you think it'll take? Like 15, 20 years. ATS, how long do you have to wait for an interview for spousal visa if your documents qualify? It depends on the embassy. It could be 2 months, it could be 2 years. Lipis, can I update my old state ID last name and use my marriage certificate as proof I'm overstay? That's up to your state DMV and what they think about it. So it just depends on what the DMV wants to do on that. You're welcome, Novelet, again. But thank you, everyone. So we'll take 1 or 2 more questions and we'll call it a day. Marriage immigration is heating up, especially with the H says no year. I'm not sure what that means. But especially with this Biden executive order that's going to be coming into place. Unfortunately, they still haven't given us the exact rules of how the Biden special executive order is going to work. But essentially, if you entered without permission more than 10 years ago, you're married a U.S. citizen before June 2024, and you have proof of being here 10 years continuously from 2014, 2024, then you get to be paroled in, which will allow you to adjust status without leaving the U.S. or doing a 601A waiver. These numbers stuff don't make sense, but it's good to know and put out there if you got a marriage case. Schedule a consultation, we get into it. Karis, do you think it's possible to get you to write USCIS to inquire and try to speed up my 545? Not really. I'm not sure what's going on with 545. I got to review it first, but maybe after reviewing, you paying consultation fee, there's nothing I can do. If you really are urgent or something, contact them yourself, but everyone's in the same position you are. So it's just, unless you got I don't even know why you'd want to speed up your I-45 if you got work permission, travel, especially when you're here in the U.S. But practically not really. Betty says, what's after DS-160? Well, you got to do the rest of the work, register the appointment, get the paperwork together, and do the interview. Agbu says, if I have my order nisi, can I go ahead with my filing? So order nisi, I think it's like a divorce certificate for British people or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the names are, but you need to have like a final order. But schedule a private consultation to discuss that. Tarek says, I'm a U.S. citizen applying for my mom who overstayed her visa. Would that cause you to show up for a case? No, you can overstay a visa, but it kind of depends on what visa category it was. For example, if you're a transit visa, then no. And also, we got to know your mom's background, and we got to review if she has a birth certificate. If she does, what's the issues or if there's problems with it. Also, marriage and divorce records. So the overstay itself as a parent of U.S. citizen is not a problem, but we got to review the rest of the situation and see what's going on. We'll take 2 or 3 more cases. Samantha, how long does it take to make a decision after you interview? Whatever long it takes them. User 3 says 10-year bar, permanent bar in regards to parole in place and adjustment status. So if you have the permanent bar, it's going to suck, and it's not, it's going to suck. Will the Federal Register be updated by rules for PIP? It's not up to me. I'm waiting on it, just as everyone is. Michael says, can I change my mom's visitor visa B2 to green card? I want already approved before. Potentially, I got to get more information. Schedule a private consultation. We'll do it at jqqlaw.com/contact. I need to see what's going on with your case to be able to answer that. I'm 18-year-old. Okay, let's see. Can 18-year-old be my spouse for a green card if I'm on a visa waiver? Yes, but they have to be a U.S. citizen. But marriage could be 18. Kane, I never filed for work permit, so I'm just home unemployed and I can't work. I just filed just my status. We could have filed for work permit with your adjustment of status application, and that would have held you over as well as travel permission. So you would have lived like you had a green card until the decision is made. If you had my guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com, we have it all in there for free, explaining what to do. But I'm sorry to hear that, but these cases take a while. I mean, you call them and pester them, maybe it'll work, but I don't think it's worth hiring us for that. Rodan says, can I file if we are living in a hotel? We don't have where to stay. It's not impossible. And I don't know what kind of case you have, Rotan. But I'd really have best to have a permanent address for mailing purposes at least, or at least a mailing address. But if you have a good explanation, it's doable. I'd prefer you have some sort of fixed address, but we kind of have to work with what you have. So that's why we have scheduled private consultation to see why the situation is where you're at, so we can explain it to the government if need be. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll be back again next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're taking your question about U.S. immigration live on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Instagram. CUs are good to see you. One of our regulars. There are a lot of regulars, I've realized, that come on the show. We just got hired from a regular for years, been watching. They hired us. So it's fantastic that we have such a regular audience. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us again. We'll be back next week and might do some pop-ups, just pop in. So follow us on TikTok, US JQK Immigration Law, or probably on YouTube is best at JQK Law. And Abi, thank you. You're welcome. Tarek, you're welcome. Please schedule a consultation. We could talk about your case personally, especially the birth certificates. Parents of U.S. citizen cases, the birth certificates are always an issue. And Rotan says, my wifey is indicted. That's not good. I'll leave it with that. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.